but this ain't fair. And I don't know what it is, but my city needs something.
Welcome to Soy News. I am your host, Anaje, and I will be telling you about some trending stories. On Wednesday, February 9th, 4 construction workers got robbed by one team in broad daylight. And I just feel like that's crazy because they trying to work and get money and probably provide for their family, but they can't do that because it's a lot of messed up people in the world. On to the next story. Pamela Anderson got struck and killed by a stray bullet on Division Avenue, and I just feel like that could have been anybody. On to the next story. A group of teenagers are under investigation for several carjackings. And I just feel like people gotta be safe at these gas stations. On to the next story. H.D. Woodson High School parents shot another student. I just feel like that's crazy because children can't even learn in school no more without it having to be safe. That's crazy. Now to the weather. It is 51 degrees outside. But get ready for tomorrow because it's supposed to be 70% of snow. So make sure y'all go get y'all food together now and stuff like that, and make sure y'all wear y'all coats and stuff because y'all know the weather tricky. It's pneumonia season, so just stay safe. Soy has a special guest, James Butler, and he is running for the mayor of DC.
Anaje, that's a great question, and thanks for having me on the show today.
Why do you feel as though you should run mayor of DC?
Anaje, I've got robust plans for the city. Let me share with you a little bit about my opponents. The current mayor has had the job for the past 8 years, and crime has gone up. Affordable housing is virtually non-existent and not affordable. Our homelessness tents are all over the city like we've never seen before, and our schools aren't making the grade. Out of all the candidates, I have a plan. I have an absolute plan for the city. And let me tell you this. We've got 2 other council people that are running for the seat of mayor. They've been in DC Council for 6 years. Both of them have. If they'd had a plan, you'd know about it already. Why should we continue to recycle the same old politicians? If they're not doing anything right now, why would we elevate them to the office of mayor or keep them as mayor so they can do more of the same? That's nothing. I've got a plan, and we need to have a change agent, a bold change agent with backbone to do the job in this city. And that's what makes me unique out of all the candidates. I have not kissed any rings. I'm not beholden to anyone in the city. And no one can say, well, he's half the job and he hasn't done X, Y, Z. But I can tell you this, the current mayor has had that job and very little has gone forward. This entire city has almost completely gone backwards. And the 2 council members, they've had their jobs for 6 years respectively, and everything that they talk about and try to blame on the mayor, that it's gone backwards under their watch too. They say, oh, well, city leaders aren't failing. Well, you're part of the city leadership and you're failing.
How would you deal with the crime in DC?
Anaje, thank you for that question. Crime has risen in DC. Violent crimes, homicides has risen in DC at a rate that it hasn't seen in the last 20 years. We're seeing carjackings happening by a demographic we haven't seen ever in DC, an unprecedented demographic. We're having 10, 11, 12-year-olds carjackings and killing folks. And this is predominantly happening to Black and brown families in the city. But I will also say this, these bullets are flying indiscriminately. The other day, just in Northeast, we had a 54-year-old woman in a car, innocent. Just riding as a passenger in a car with her 8-year-old son. A bullet flew, struck her in the head, and she died. She's not coming back. And while I understand that there are a lot of reasons for this crime happening in the city, one thing I know is for sure, we're going to focus on getting more jobs. We're going to focus people living in overcrowded houses. We're going to focus on addiction issues. We're going to focus on mental and behavioral health issues and anyone that might have a combination of all of the above. But what I, as a mayor, knows and will have to be charged with is making sure that you and you and you can make it home alive. I had the unfortunate time of seeing a 6-year-old girl in a coffin that was standing at the bus stop. I had the unfortunate task of seeing a 10-year-old girl that was running to an ice cream truck and was struck by a bullet and laid in a coffin. You know, people are saying, oh, we can do better in DC. But you know what? The criminals ain't going to turn these guns in. And no award amount that you can offer them are going to make them turn the gun in. This culture of no snitching is so pervasive in this city that it's not going to be eroded. What we will do is we will increase the number of police officers. We will create an illegal gun interdiction unit, and we will intercept illegal guns that are coming from Maryland, DC, or any other jurisdiction where people would choose to bring an illegal gun in. And we will charge them. We will be tough on crime. I know some people don't like my rhetoric, but you know what? Being tough on crime is the way we have to be. I'll tell you what, you know, a lot of people that grew up in DC knew if you were in a committed crime, you didn't do it in the Commonwealth. Why? Because they know the Commonwealth is tough on crime, and DC needs to be tougher on crime now. Another thing that we will do in addition to creating an illegal gun interdiction unit, we will work with the ATF to target ghost guns that are being sold on the internet and the components of ghost guns that are being sold online. And we will penalize anyone that would disseminate these components or ghost guns online. Why does it matter to me? Because these innocent people that are dying matter to me. People are saying, oh, well, you know, criminal justice reform, well, you know, people deserve a second chance. I believe in all of that. But at the same time, innocent people have got to stop dying. Because someday it could be you, or it could be me, or it could be my mother, or my father, or my sister, or my brother. And you know what? When a relative dies, as much as you say you get over that, you never get over that. People deserve to be protected in the here and now. The second part of my plan, including the gun interdiction unit and working with the ATF, is this: a restorative way of approaching DC's loitering laws. We're not going to penalize people with a crime for loitering, but it will be unlawful in DC under my administration. Let me tell you how we're going to approach it. When people are posted up on the block, we will have a team that's tasked with targeting them to say, hey, John, you're out here. We see you're out here every day. And we need to know how we can help you. Is it a job? We'll connect you with DOES to get a job. Is it addiction or recovery? Is it mental or behavioral health? We will help you with all of those. Is it, that you live in a house that's overcrowded? There are reasons why people are out there. There are reasons people don't want to be posted up on the block all day and every day. And we're going to help them where they no longer want to be posted up on the block. But we have got to get and make it unlawful for people in a restorative way to stop posting up on the block. And we will. We will be charged with helping them in every way. It's not going to be the first time we throw them into jail. We're not going to do that. But this is a restorative, a kind, a compassionate way of creating a system where people no longer want to loiter and post up on the block. We will increase the police officers. We will create the interdiction unit. We will work with the ATF, and we will make loitering unlawful in a compassionate and restorative way.
What would you do to deal with the coronavirus?
Thank you for that question, and Najee, again, a very astute question on your end. The coronavirus is here. It's, as you know, a pandemic now. My hope is that someday it becomes endemic and we can just live around it. But until that happens, if I'm given the privilege, the pleasure, and an honor to be mayor of this city to serve, I also understand that that's the hard stuff that leaders have to do is deal with the coronavirus. I will say this, and I know this may be a bit of a polarizing thing, but I am not in favor of mandating that people be vaccinated. I am in favor of mandating that people socially distance and wear masks, and students wear masks and those sorts of things. But I believe you should have the right to do what you want with your body. And I know I'm going to lose some support when I say this, but I'm not going to kowtow to people just because it's maybe the PC thing to say. If it's your body, I don't believe that you should have to vaccinate if you don't want to. Am I vaccinated? Yes. Am I boosted? Yes. Do I wear my mask when I'm not doing public speaking like I am now? Yes. Absolutely. I believe in all of those things. And I do believe also in the social distancing component. But the reality is, DC is going to deal with this for a while. We're going to have to continue to follow the science. The science says that you should be vaccinated. I'd encourage people to vaccinate and boost. If you're immunosuppressed or immunocompromised, vaccinate or boost because it will likely save your life. When the schools need to be shut down, if we come to that point again, that's a hard decision I will have to make, and I will shut it down. I will tell you this, but the important thing is I will never allow my ego to get in the way of science and common sense. This mayor had a mask mandate that she lifted when the rest of the country was teetering out of control. Numbers were going up everywhere in the United States and people were dying. The chairman of the council, as well as nearly every council member, said, Madam Mayor, people are dying. We need the mask mandate reinstated. It took this mayor a heck of a fight. She was fighting her own ego to make the decision finally. We need to conform with the rest of the country and save lives. My ego will never get in the way of common sense and science. And so the way I will deal with it, I will follow the science. I will follow common sense. When we hopefully get beyond this, I will be forever grateful. And I will tell you that my belief, my hope is that we as a country will survive it, that there hopefully aren't too many additional lives lost in the already nearly 1 million people that we've lost. And someday we can live around this with it being endemic, and that becomes the least of the problems that the city needs to deal with. We know the city has so many other problems with our homelessness, which is another way that this coronavirus is spreading. We've got a lack of affordable housing. I know you didn't ask me about that, and that's okay. I know the interview is going to be a more of abbreviated than my normal interviews, but we've got a lot of work to do. We need a man or woman with backbone, a decisive leader who's not afraid to step on some toes, who hasn't kowtowed to the establishment, who hasn't kissed rings, who hasn't literally wasted time 8 years in the mayor's office and all the numbers have gone back, who hasn't served 6 years in DC Council and pretending they have some new bold ideas. I submit to everyone watching this that they don't have new ideas or plans, because if they had them, you would have known about them already. They're doing the same thing as being lackluster in their jobs and asking you to elevate them to a higher job. I'm asking the voters of DC to elect a bold man with backbone. I am afraid of nothing but my Creator. And I appreciate you for having me today, Anijah.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on Soy's News, James Butler.
Anijah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for watching Soy's News. I'm your host, Anijah.
And I know that lately my city it been crazy. It's like every day somebody's gone. And every time I turn around I hear them gun sounds. Cop signs, man, we need to put the guns down. Everybody wanna be a shooter.